savory scent of roasted turkey, and the warmth of Thanksgiving camaraderie as we gathered in Ezekiel's sprawling country estate. Our laughter echoed through the grand halls, accompanied by the clinking of glasses and the festive melody of a piano in the background. Little did we know that this Thanksgiving would become a chilling tale etched into the fabric of our lives. My name is Jayla, and I was surrounded by dear friends, LeVar, Frank, Ezekiel, and George, all of us reveling in the joy of the holiday. Ezekiel, our gracious host, had spared no expense in creating an opulent feast to be remembered. The long, ornately decorated table groaned under the weight of culinary delights, the flickering candles casting an amber glow over the festive setting. As the night wore on, we found ourselves engrossed in lively conversations, blissfully unaware of the impending darkness. LeVar's booming laughter, Frank's witty remarks, Ezekiel's heartfelt toasts, and George's soothing piano melodies created a symphony of merriment that enveloped the mansion. Amidst the joyous atmosphere, a sudden chill descended upon the room. The ambient noise hushed, and an unspoken tension gripped our hearts. It began with a subtle creaking sound, barely audible above the murmur of conversation. Unbeknownst to us, the masked intruder had silently infiltrated our celebration. A strange figure emerged from the shadows, wearing a turkey mask that obscured their identity. The whimsical nature of the mask clashed horribly with the ominous intent radiating from their presence. Panic ensued as we registered the intruder's sinister intent. Their eyes locked onto me. The masked slasher, wielding a glinting object in their gloved hand, approached with deliberate and eerie calmness. The room fell into a collective gasp, the weight of impending danger sinking in. My heart pounded, and a cold sweat broke out on my skin as I realized I was the main target. LeVar, Frank, Ezekiel, and George instinctively rallied around me, forming a protective barrier. Their faces mirrored a mix of confusion and terror, but determination flickered in their eyes. We had to survive this unforeseen nightmare. The masked slasher moved with an unnerving precision, weaving through the crowd like a phantom. The distorted turkey face seemed to leer at me with malicious intent. I could feel the weight of their gaze, an unrelenting pursuit that fueled my adrenaline. In a moment of panic, we decided to scatter, hoping to confuse the slasher and create an opening for escape. The mansion, once an elegant haven, now felt like a labyrinth of shadows. We darted through hallways, desperately seeking refuge from the masked menace. As we sprinted, fear and confusion clouded our judgment. The flickering candlelight cast grotesque shadows on the walls, amplifying the sense of dread. Each corner turned was a potential trap, and the eerie silence that followed our footsteps heightened the suspense. The slasher, relentless in pursuit, appeared to be everywhere and nowhere. Their ominous presence loomed over us, a spectral force driving us deeper into the heart of the mansion. The once beautiful Thanksgiving celebration had transformed into a harrowing game of survival. LeVar, Frank, Ezekiel, and George each played their part in the desperate dance to outwit our pursuer. The mansion became a labyrinth. Our breaths labored, and our senses heightened. The echoing laughter of our previous festivities was replaced by the chilling echoes of our frantic footsteps. Amidst the chaos, an unsettling realization dawned. The masked slasher was not just a random assailant. They were deliberate, methodical, and seemingly fixated on me. Questions swirled in my mind, but there was no time for answers. Survival became our sole focus. In the dimly lit corridors, the masked slasher's footsteps merged with our own, creating a disorienting symphony of pursuit. Panic set in, and the mansion seemed to conspire against us, its grandeur transforming into a maze designed for our demise. As we sought refuge in the mansion's hidden alcoves, the slasher's eerie whispers reverberated through the shadows. Their voice, distorted by the turkey mask, carried a haunting message, a cryptic blend of threats and foreboding promises that sent shivers down our spines. We pressed on, the walls closing in around us. Each moment felt like an eternity, the suspense escalating with every passing second. The slasher's masked presence, a specter of horror, left us teetering on the edge of our sanity. In the labyrinthine twists of the mansion, alliances formed and shattered in the blink of an eye. Fear strained our bonds, and survival instincts drove us to the brink. Lavar's booming voice wavered. Frank's wit dissolved into silent contemplation. Ezekiel's toasts became somber prayers, and George's piano melodies took on a mournful cadence. The climax approached, a crescendo of fear and uncertainty that reverberated through the mansion's hollow halls. As we neared what seemed to be an escape, the slasher's ominous whispers reached a fever pitch. They were close, their presence an ever-present specter haunting our every move. In a final act of desperation, we burst into the mansion's grand ballroom, hoping to find a way out. The masked slasher, undeterred, continued their relentless pursuit. As we stood on the precipice of the unknown, the masked figure stepped into the light, revealing a twisted satisfaction beneath the turkey mask. And then, with a gut-wrenching twist, the story took an unexpected turn. In the midst of the tension, the slasher's voice shifted from a threat to a revelation, leaving me stunned and speechless. The masked figure uttered a cryptic message that hinted at a connection between us, a hidden truth that plunged the Thanksgiving night into a chilling abyss. As the masked slasher vanished into the shadows, leaving us breathless and bewildered, the mansion's grand ballroom became a haunting stage. The cliffhanger left us suspended in a realm of uncertainty, the unresolved secrets lingering like ghosts in the aftermath of a terror-filled Thanksgiving. The masked figure's ominous words echoed in our minds, promising an unsettling truth that awaited discovery in the shadows of the labyrinthine mansion. A truth that would shape the fate of our lives and bind us to a nightmarish reality. Thanksgiving was usually a comforting affair at our house, filled with the scent of turkey, laughter, and family stories. But that year, a strange man disrupted the familiar warmth of our holiday traditions. His arrival marked the beginning of a nightmarish ordeal that would haunt me for weeks to come. My mom, Nancy, had spent the day preparing a feast, and my grandmother, Liza, shared tales of the good old days. Everything was as it should be until the doorbell rang, and a tall, thin man entered our lives. He wore an impeccably tailored suit that clashed with the casual Thanksgiving setting. His introduction was as unsettling as his appearance. "Hello, dear. I'm a friend of a friend," the stranger said, his voice devoid of emotion. "I heard you were having a Thanksgiving dinner. and I thought I might join. I hesitated, but eventually let him in, hoping he was just an eccentric acquaintance of someone in our family. Throughout the evening, the strange man blended seamlessly with everyone, yet his unsettling gaze never left me. He sat across from me at the table, never uttering a word, yet I felt a silent communication happening between us. As the night wore on, I tried to put the odd encounter out of my mind. The family gathered around the television, engrossed in a holiday movie. My mother and grandmother were laughing, seemingly oblivious to the peculiar guest in our midst. However, I couldn't shake the feeling that his presence cast a shadow over the festivities. Later that evening, after the guest had left and the house fell silent, I decided to take a walk to clear my mind. Little did I know, the strange man followed me. The cold night air did little to ease my growing unease as he matched my every step. It felt as though he was tethered to me, a dark force refusing to let go. I quickened my pace, desperately trying to rationalize the situation. The once familiar streets now seemed like a labyrinth closing in on me. As I approached my house, I dared not look back, fearing the stranger's face pressed against the glass. Once inside, I locked the door, hoping the click would be a final barrier between us. Peering through the window, I half expected to see the stranger's face, but the night remained still. Exhausted and unnerved, I retreated to my room, trying to convince myself that the man was a figment of my imagination. But the memory of his unsettling eyes lingered, casting a shadow over every moment of tranquility. Days turned into weeks, and I tried to resume a sense of normalcy. I convinced myself that the strange man was a result of holiday stress. But one evening, as I sat reading, the floorboards outside my room creaked. The door slowly swung open, revealing the stranger. His eyes bore into my soul, accusing me without uttering a word. He extended a hand, revealing a small, intricately carved wooden box. Hesitant, I opened it, recoiling at the contents, a collection of photographs capturing moments from my life. The realization struck me. He had been watching me, studying my every move. Finally, he spoke, his voice a sinister whisper. "You can't escape, Corey. I've been with you all along." The room transformed, reality warping and twisting. I found myself in a desolate, nightmarish landscape. The stranger stood before me, his gaze a swirling vortex of malevolent energy. "Welcome to my domain, Corey. You're mine now." As the nightmare unfolded, I faced my deepest fears and insecurities. The stranger reveled in my torment, weaving a dark magic that blurred the lines between dream and reality. In this surreal landscape, I confronted grotesque visions and haunting shadows. Desperation gripped me as I searched for an escape, but the stranger seemed to hold the keys to my existence. In the climax of the surreal nightmare, I faced a mirror image of myself, an eerie doppelganger reflecting my fears and vulnerabilities. The nightmarish ordeal continued, a relentless descent into a reality that defied all reason. The boundary between dream and waking life blurred, and the stranger reveled in my torment, orchestrating a macabre spectacle that played on my deepest fears. In the heart of this surreal nightmare, shadows whispered haunting secrets, and grotesque visions danced at the edge of my sanity. The stranger's malevolent laughter echoed through the night, a constant reminder that escape was futile. As I navigated the nightmarish terrain, the stranger's eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity. He spoke an incantation, a language I couldn't understand, but felt deep in my bones. Reality twisted and contorted, and the nightmare reached its climax. In a final moment of surreal horror, the stranger's gaze locked onto mine, and the world collapsed around me. The nightmare was both an external force and a manifestation of my deepest fears. As I fought to break free, the boundary between dream and reality became indistinguishable, leaving me trapped in a realm of unending torment. The stranger's malevolent laughter echoed through the night, a haunting soundtrack to the nightmare that had become my reality. The night after Thanksgiving was a blurry haze of laughter, clinking glasses, and the warmth of the holiday spirit. I found myself in a dimly lit bar, surrounded by the faint hum of conversations and the lingering scent of alcohol. The glow of neon signs outside beckoned, casting an alluring light that promised a continuation of the festivities. Little did I know, this night would unfold into a tale of horror, where the line between trust and trepidation would blur into a chilling nightmare. My name is Alex, and the night started innocently enough. Friends and family had gathered for a festive Thanksgiving feast, and as the evening wore on, we found ourselves at a local bar, eager to extend the celebration. Laughter echoed, glasses clinked, and the warmth of the alcohol coursing through our veins fueled an atmosphere of carefree merriment. Amidst the crowd, I locked eyes with a mysterious figure named Lily. She exuded an enigmatic charm that drew me in, and our conversation flowed effortlessly. The dim lighting and the effects of a few too many drinks created a haze, blurring the edges of reality. Lily suggested we continue the night at her place, and in my inebriated state, I agreed without a second thought. The night unfolded in flashes, cab rides, stumbling laughter, and the welcoming glow of streetlights guiding us to Lily's apartment. The air was thick with the promise of a night that hung on the precipice between excitement and the unknown. Entering Lily's apartment, I was greeted by an eerie stillness. The dim glow of a single lamp cast long shadows across the room, and the air seemed to hum with an unspoken tension. My instincts should have kicked in, warning me that something was amiss, but the alcohol-induced haze veiled my perception. Lily, her features shrouded in the dim light, guided me further into her apartment. The atmosphere seemed to shift, the air growing colder as we moved through the space. Yet, the gravity of the situation eluded me, masked by the intoxicating blend of alcohol and infatuation. As the night wore on, Lily's behavior took a subtle turn. Her laughter, once light and carefree, now carried an unsettling undertone. The room seemed to close in, the shadows dancing with an almost malevolent rhythm. Hints of unease flickered through my consciousness, but I brushed them aside, convinced that the alcohol was playing tricks on my perception. As we shared another drink, Lily's words took on a cryptic quality. She spoke of forgotten memories, of nights that blurred into nightmares, and of the thin veil between desire and danger. The conversation wove a chilling narrative, a tapestry of warning signs that I chose to ignore. The apartment, once a haven of potential romance, now felt like a trap closing in around me. Lily's demeanor shifted, her gaze lingering with an unsettling intensity. The shadows seemed to writhe, whispering secrets that eluded my conscious mind. The signs were there, embedded in the fabric of the night, yet I remained oblivious. The descent into horror continued as Lily's touch became invasive, her caresses carrying a sinister intent. The dim light cast her features in a disconcerting glow, revealing a malevolent satisfaction that sent shivers down my spine. The hints, once subtle, now screamed warnings that I chose to silence in the name of inebriated desire. As the night wore on, the apartment transformed into a nightmare landscape. Shadows clung to the corners, concealing the true nature of Lily's intentions. The air thickened with an unspoken threat, and the intoxicating haze of alcohol became a suffocating fog that clouded my judgment. In a moment of clarity, a flicker of realization cut through the fog. The warning signs, the cryptic conversations, the invasive touches, all formed a chilling narrative of impending danger. Panic surged within me, but the alcohol-laden fog proved insurmountable. I stumbled through the apartment, my senses dulled, and the room spun in a disorienting dance. The crescendo of horror unfolded as Lily's true nature manifested. Her demeanor shifted from enigmatic to menacing, her eyes gleaming with an unhinged intensity. The apartment, once a potential haven, now felt like a prison from which there was no escape. Lily's words took on a distorted quality, a cacophony of threats and promises that sent tremors through my very core. The shadows, once passive observers, now seemed to converge, forming a malevolent audience to the unfolding nightmare. The realization struck. The night, veiled in alcohol-induced delirium, had become a descent into a darkness I could not escape. As Lily's intentions became clear, a surge of adrenaline cut through the intoxicating fog. I stumbled towards the door, the room spinning with a disorienting momentum. The apartment, once a haven of potential romance, now became a labyrinth of dread.